Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Richard III, and today we get to hear from Buckingham in Act 3, Scene 4, as it is known in the folio, Act 3, Scene 7, as it is known in other versions, because they wanted stuff to make a little more sense. The things that are going on. Richard is trying to take the throne, and what stands in his way now are his two nephews, Edward and Richard, who are hanging out in the tower waiting for Edward to be coronated, because he's the elder of Edward's sons. But Richard has decided that the best way to get around them is to put into question the fact of their legitimacy. So he had Buckingham go out and talk to the general population at the same time that the Lord Mayor was convincing everybody that it was okay that Hastings died, and it was actually good that Hastings was killed so suddenly and quickly. He also sent Buckingham out to plant the idea in the general population's mind that Edward and Richard are illegitimate children of King Edward, and to try to drum up support for himself to therefore become king. But that wasn't really very successful. Like, people weren't jumping on the bandwagon for that. So Buckingham came back to Richard and was like, you need to appear really pious. The Lord Mayor's coming over. Go find some priests and a Bible and pretend that you've been studying. So when he gets here, he'll think that you're a good man, all that sort of thing. So Richard does, and then the Lord Mayor shows up, and they make a big show of, let's bring out Richard. And that's what this whole thing is at this point. It's this big show that Richard and Buckingham and Catesby are putting on for, at the moment, the Lord Mayor, but they want to be putting it on for everybody so that Richard can seem like he's the proper king. But they bring out Richard, and he's got priests on either side, and he's holding a Bible, and he's like, I'm sorry, my friends, if I've ever offended you, please forgive me for anything that I might have done wrong, blah, blah, blah. And then Buckingham begs him to take the throne and says, it's your fault if one of these illegitimate children becomes king, and then there's non-royal blood on the throne of England, and imagine the shame and humiliation that England is going to experience if that happens, and that's all your fault, and you could fix it by taking the throne, which everybody wants you to do. And yesterday we had Richard responding to that, putting on a show, saying, no, I'm not fit to govern, I do better in more of an advisory capacity, and that's really silly of you to ask this thing of me and put this burden on me, especially when we have these two heirs. And once Edward is old enough and wise enough, I'm sure he's going to make a great king, and everybody's going to be happy during his reign. And Buckingham replies, my lord, this argues conscience in your grace, but the respects thereof are nice and trivial, all circumstances well considered. You say that Edward is your brother's son, so say we too, but not by Edward's wife. For first he was contract to Lady Lucy, your mother lives a witness to his vow, and afterward by substitute betrothed to Bona, sister to the King of France. These both put off, a poor petitioner, a care-crazed mother to a many sons, a beauty waning and distressed widow, even in the afternoon of her best days, made prize and purchase of his wanton eye, seduced the pitch and height of his degree to base declension and loathed bigamy. By her, in his unlawful bed, he got this Edward, whom our manners call the prince. More bitterly could I expostulate, save that for reverence to some alive, I give a sparing limit to my tongue. Then, good my lord, take your royal self this preferred benefit of dignity, if not to bless us and the land withal, yet to draw forth your noble ancestry from the corruption of abusing times unto a lineal, true derived course. He's pushing back again. He's begging again. He's saying that's very kind of you to say that you're not fit and that Edward would make a great king, but there's more to the story than that. So then he brings up King Edward's previous engagements to other women, and says that, after these two marriages broke off, some random woman caught his eye, and that's how Prince Edward was born. And to be nice, we call him Prince, but he's not really a prince. So we need you to take the throne so that the right person, the true the true king, the true legitimate king, is on the throne. And then the Lord Mayor's like, oh yes, please do. And then Buckingham's like, please do. And Catesby's like, please do. And then Richard is like, but I'm unfit. I'm unfit to lead. And Buckingham has a little more to say that we'll hear tomorrow. Because I told you this Act 3, Scene 4 just doesn't end. We've got like 2 more monologues from it before we move on. But anyway, tomorrow, more Buckingham, and we'll see. Will Richard cave and take the throne? What do you think? I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.